This lesson contains another drag and drop program. It's fundamentally the same as the one presented in the previous lesson, but it moves solid objects from one place to another instead of moving dotted line frames. It also checks for attempting to drop the object outside the window. The constructor is the same as it was in the previous example, except there's no setup for the dotted line. The paint method is a bit different. This loop draws all of the areas to the screen except the one of them that may be moving. Notice that the areas are drawn with the fill method instead of the draw method. This fills them with solid color instead of just draws the outline. To keep things simple, the default black is used in all of them. It would be relatively simple to have them all show up in a different color by having a companion array of color objects that holds a color object for each one. If one of the objects is moving, that means it wasn't filled earlier, so it doesn't appear on the screen, so it must be filled now. Of course, it must first be transformed to its current location in the move. If a dragging is underway, then, inside the mouse drag method, the affine transform must be updated to the new values so the transformation will move the object. The mouse pressed method sets up for the dragging action if the mouse is pressed inside an object window. If moving is underway and the mouse is released, the moving is immediately stopped in the mouse released method. What is then done with the object that was being moved is in question. The current mouse position is checked to make sure it's inside the window. If it is inside, the new mouse position is taken as the preferred drop spot, and the current affine transform is applied to the one being dragged. However, if the drop is outside the window, no transform takes place, and the paint method will just put it back where it was to begin with. As you can see, this is about the same as in the previous example, except the shapes are solid instead of hollow. But they all move differently. Now, the way this system records and plays back, you may or may not be able to see the flickering that takes place during the motion. This is typical of any movement of objects on the screen, but there is a cure for it, and I'll show you how that cure works in just a few lessons when we get to animation. It's a simple little trick, and as far as I know, it works on all platforms. The only thing left is to show you what happens when you drag and drop something outside the window.